she's right. Madison Parkway, you have to be very, very challenging academically to get into the school at the time. You have to have a grade level to go to Latin Academy. You have to have a grade level to go to Madison Park. And when they become closing them down as they go along, they brought Madison Park to Hyde Park. It used to be called something they had programmed that they keep merging the different city schools until they officially get rid of all these, academics. And then they also slowly drift away because of parents who won't stand up for their children.
Mm-hmm.
We hardly have an ESL program. And I was one of those kids who came here from out of nowhere, didn't know how to speak English. I needed an ESL classes. These Asian professors were around for me. And when I finished high school, I dedicated 2 years of my time while I was still at Bay State teaching other Haitian student newcomers how to speak English coming in from a foreign country. I mean, these are the things that we don't do anymore. People don't volunteer into their community anymore. Everybody doesn't mind your business. Who cares? The kids across the street can fall and break their head, and the person goes, "I'm my kid." Like, that's just how we're living right now.
Yeah.
And we're crying out, why are we losing our future?
Yeah.
This is what I just wanted to share with you, Taylor. Thank you for taking my call.
Thank you so much for sharing your truth, and I absolutely agree with you. Where are the parents? And I know that you guys work, but who are you sending in your place to look after these children? And again, I want to remind you, it's not under your, Jules, can you put this on Twitter that Boston has an ordinance that all parents have 3 days. And this is because former city councilor Charles Yancey put this on the books many, many moons ago. You have 3 days that it does not come out of your sick days. It doesn't come out of your vacation days. You have 3 days every school year to mind your children. Whether it's going to the State House, whether it's going to City Hall to speak on your child's behalf, or whether it's going to meet with your child's teacher, principal, superintendent, whether it's to attend, we already covered public hearings, whether it's to attend like an arts night, because I know my kids have arts night and sometimes it starts relatively early, but what is it like? Yesterday, I was a part of a conversation that was led by parents, and it wasn't attack. It was, what can we do to improve? What can we do to, give our children more of what they need? And the question is, well, we're in a room with nothing but adults. How do we even know what children need when no one's paying attention to their voice? Nobody is paying attention to these children's voice. Do you know how many youth-led organizations that are out here? I want to give a huge shout out to James that was on air on Monday. Youth-led organizations. I'm lying. James was on yesterday. Days blurring. Youth-led organizations. The youth are leading the youth, and they don't need our help. They just needed the resources. That's exactly what James said. We don't need, for you to tell us what we need. We know what we need. We just need the resources so we can go ahead and do the things we know we need to do. How are you helping? How are you being a part of that conversation? What is being done? Julia Mahia, call us up, 617-282-0062, because if you are a parent that wants to be involved, if you are a parent that wants to educate, wants to be a part of that conversation, I want you to be a part of the conversation. We need you a part of the conversation. We need more parents to push back and say, listen, politician, this is not what my child needs. This is not what my child wants. We need to push on to the systems that are currently in place and say, listen, I need more communication. I need some more information. We, the parents, need to be the voice for our children. We had children walk out of school, hundreds, thousands of children walking out of school because they're fed up. The babies don't know what education in Newton looks like. Babies don't know what education in Situate looks like, what Duxbury education looks like, Marshfield education. Do you know that these schools are like top in the country? Those babies go to school, 617-282-0062. Those babies go to school. They have their little pre-K or they're, staying at home with grandma or auntie or somebody. And then from there, they go into kindergarten, and from kindergarten to I love the way some people say kindergarten. They go to kindergarten to 5th grade, and then from 6th grade to 8th grade. This was the school system that I went through. This was the school system the model that I was in. From the Head Start or the pre-K or whatever you want to call it, to the kindergarten to 5th grade, from 6th, 7th, and 8th grade, and then you go into high school. Yesterday, I learned about a parent who has a child that's been in 5 different schools and the baby's in the 4th grade. We have to be that voice to say, listen, what I would like to do, what I would like to see is for my child to go to the same school all year round. I mean, their whole lifetime, for them to have friends from the first day to the last day of school, for them to know their classmates from the first day to the last day of school. How much would that, as far as the violence in the community is concerned, how much would that calm down the violence when you have children that from opposing neighborhoods, it doesn't even have to be neighborhoods today. It could be a parallel streets, 2 children from parallel streets that are going at it, beefing at it. How much could we avoid if this is my classmate, we have conversations in what are the solutions, baby? And for all those parents that can't attend a 3 p.m. hearing, for all those parents that can't attend a 10 a.m. hearing, I'm hearing you now. And don't think for 5 seconds that the city of Boston isn't listening, because they are, and they do on a regular basis. So your voice is still heard, even though you can't show up to a hearing because it's at 3 o'clock in the afternoon on a Tuesday. Like, you don't have to go to work. 617-282-0062. We got parents on the line. Good rising, caller. You're live.
Good morning, Taylor. This is a good topic you have this morning. I got 2 solutions. The 2 solution is, one, parents need to be more aggressive when they have kids.
617-282-0062.
There's a teachers parent meeting. They need to be in there. The difference between the suburbs and Boston school is 2 things. Every time you see something going on in the suburbs, the parents invest their time on the kids. Here, everyone has to keep up with Mr. Jones. That's the reason why we have the problem. Second, what we need to do is just, I think Boston teachers get paid more money than the suburbs. But at the end of the day, is Boston teachers neglect the kids. Because parents doesn't invest in their kids. That's the reason why the teachers are like, you know what, if the parent doesn't care about their kids, why would I waste my time? I'm just coming here to get a paycheck.
So one of the things, I've been attacked for this, baby. As far as these teachers are concerned, their voice will be heard. So a lot of these teachers, we can't say all of the teachers don't care, because a lot of our teachers do care. We have a lot of great teachers in BPS. And by BPS, I mean every single system across Boston school, period. And that could be charter, that could be parochial, that could whatever. We have a lot of amazing teachers here within our city limits. So I don't want to say that a lot of the teachers don't care, because there are a lot of teachers that do care, but aren't given the proper resources to do what they need to do to be the best teachers that they can be. I saw a meme recently that said, if these police officers had to buy bullets like teachers have to buy paper, how many people would actually be shot? And I think that's a great analogy, because our teachers have to provide for our children what should be provided for them. Do you know, back when we were in Birmingham, Alabama, and then when we moved to Boston and Anari went to the Henry Brew, we had a list of things that we had to buy for the classroom. Usually you have a list of things that you have to buy for the child, as far as like the whole, I remember like pencils, pens, book covers, agendas, going down the list, right? Well, today you get a piece of paper that's like, we need you to bring some toilet paper. You need to bring 6 reams of paper. We need some envelopes and some manila folders. Like, hold up, how am I doing your job? You got $1 billion budget. So there's something here that we do need to talk about. There's something here that needs to be discussed, but we can't say that all teachers don't care, because a lot of our teachers, a lot of our professors, they do care, but they don't have the resources to give our babies what they need. 617-282-0062. As a parent, what are you doing to ensure that your child gets the best education? What parent-led organization are you a part of to collectively have your voices heard? And I always go back to Horton Hears a Who, because when Horton was screaming at the top of his lungs, nobody was hearing him. But once the entire city started screaming on one accord, that's when that squeaky wheel is so damn annoying that we got to go ahead and get our brakes fixed, because we look crazy out here stepping on the brakes sounding like a bus. And that's exactly what we need to do. We need to be so loud, so annoying that they go ahead and change out the brakes, because I can't do this anymore. I don't want to hear this anymore. And that's what we have to be. We have to breathe those brakes that need to be changed, and we have to be the loudest we can possibly be. And we can't do that by ourselves. TaylaAndre cannot do that with one voice. We have to be on one accord. And I love Carlos Enriquez that called in, I want to say like almost a year ago, and he was like, you guys need a parent union. What would a parent union look like? If every parent paid $1 per student per month, that's at least $65,000, I'm sorry, dyslexia is real, $65,000 a month. $1 per student per parent per month. How much money, how much lobbying could we do with $50,000 a month? How much change could we affect with $50,000 a month? We got to put our money where our mouth is. We cannot sit here and say, I want change. I want change. I want change. It's not going to work. It's not going to happen. 617-282-0062. Really quickly, there was the Crusaders. I believe it was the Defenders. Last night, it was a Christian-led walk on peace and love and Jesus. And one of the things that I found funny was some people were singing gospels, singing spirituals. There were other people that were saying, like, chanting, we want, and then there were others that were just laughing and joking and ha ha ha. And even though they had a really strong group, even though they had a lot of supporters out for that march, for that protest, they weren't speaking on one accord. And I want to go back to the Bible in Genesis, where he talks about, this people spoke on one accord, their voices were unified, and they built so high that he had to cut them down or topple them down. I never understood what that meant, but the people's voice, when they spoke with one accord, and they tried to reach the heavens, and they almost succeeded because they spoke on one accord. And in the Bible, it says that he, dismantled that structure, and then everybody started speaking different languages. And right now we are, and I don't mean Spanish and English and Spanglish and Patois. I mean, we are speaking a different language, and not all of us are on one accord. Just like the Defenders yesterday, some were singing gospels, some were chanting, some were laughing. They weren't speaking on one accord. And we ourselves as parents are not speaking on one accord about what our children want. And not about what you want, not about how you sad about your education, because a lot of us are, and I hear it. And being in this space, a lot of parents are like, listen, I feel as if BPS failed me, and I don't want my child to fail. Parents that are like, listen, I was in the MECO program. I didn't understand how crazy BPS is. Now that my child is a part of BPS, we can't get into MECO. I don't have any options. What can I do? 617-282-0062. Good rising, call you live.
Good morning, Taylor.
Hey, Miss G, how you doing, baby?
I'm great. House divided will never stand. It's in the Bible. Will not stand. And I wanted to say, I'm not part of the problem anymore. I'm the solution. I'm part of the solution. But what I wanted to say also was, when we met in the morning with the staff and everyone. Mrs. Manning, who ran Columbia Point daycare. She helped us along, so we all had coffee hour in the morning, and we met with the staff to find out how the kids were progressing. And also, the teachers were wonderful. They met also. So we just worked along with each other to find out what the problem was and what the solution was, and on and on. So parents, get up in the morning and go meet the teachers. Find out the problem and work with the staff, because that's the only way that it can be resolved.
Thank you, Miss G. Thank you, Miss G.
My kids are like out of school, doing their own thing, and I just want to contribute to it. Blessed morning, Tim.
Thank you, Miss G. And this is who we need. We need all voices at the table. Our elders have already walked this path. They already know what it looks like. They know the familiar spots. They know where the resting rock is. They know where the biting snake is. Our elders have already been down this road. We could take some pointers from them. We could understand what patience looks like from them. They didn't get the change they wanted overnight. That didn't happen. So we need our elders at the table, but we also need our youth at the table, because we cannot sit here and demand things that we want when we are not the ones in school. We are not the ones being educated. I would love for us to educate our children in the ways in which they learn, instead of, you guys know that meme? Well, the children sitting in a line, sitting in a row, and they have like a circle. No, they have a square above their head, and then the teacher's cutting it into circles. Or maybe, you know, the meme of all of the animals, and it's just like, you know, I can't teach the giraffe what I'm teaching the monkey. I know we're not animals, but we learn differently. Somebody might as well be a giraffe, or somebody else is the monkey. The giraffe has a long neck. They're going to have some advantages there. That might be equivalent to, you know, being very good in math, being very analytical. Where the monkey can swing from trees, a giraffe can't do that. That might be the creative side of somebody else who can write stories and write poems and be an author and take up English. We cannot educate our children in the same model across the board. We have to understand that our children have their own specialties. What is it that you want to do? And cultivate that lifelong. 617-282-0062, the Rising Caller, you're live.
Hello?
Hi, baby.
Oh my God, you are my mentor. What are you talking about? Okay, can I just tell you that I was having anxiety because I could not get the right dialing number, and I was like, can you write it? Can you type it in? Because I was slow. I'm waking up.
That's okay. 617-282-0062 for anybody else who is listening who wants to call in. That I don't want y'all to have anxiety attacks. 617-282-0062. Good rising, Julia Mahia, my mentor. How are you, my love?
You recognize my voice, right? So listen, I just wanted to say that, first of all, Tayla, you and I have been at this for quite some time now, and I feel like we keep having the same conversation, and we get bounced from the Senate to the State House of Representatives to the mayor. I feel like, you know, we need to start looking at this conversation from a whole bunch of other little areas and nooks and crannies that we need to tackle. Like, we need to look at this from the Department of Education. We need to start making noises in all areas, not just with our elected officials, because it begins to feel, to me, in this work, that we get bounced from place to place. But I think that we have an opportunity to really start pushing on some system changes and looking at changing the practice and things that are happening in our schools, and working with COSBAC and other organizations that are tackling the real issues that we are facing every day. Because it seems like we're in many ways kind of recycling the same jargon. And when people start talking, I feel like it's the same blah, blah, blah. It seems like every elected is on the same script, right? The pushback that we get is always about the money. And at the end of the day, for me, in my own personal humble opinion, my children, because they're all of them are babies, like they're all ours, are far more greater than just a dollar sign. And I find it somewhat offensive when that's the excuse that we get. And while we understand it takes money to educate children, when are you going to start investing those dollars to ensure that our kids get what they want, regardless of where those dollars end up? And I think we have been so consumed with having a dialogue that has nothing to do with us. And in the meantime, we continue to get the crumbs. And I think that whole idea around the parent union, I have been marinating on that since we had that conversation a few months ago. And I think that now is the time for us to start recognizing that if we do get together in unity, and not district versus charter, all that chatter is just
put all of that on mute and we start tackling the systemic issues like racism, and we start tackling curriculum changes like you like to talk about, but really looking at this conversation and flipping it over and just really holding people accountable. I will not go to another meeting and hear the same blah, blah, blah. I mean, I think now is the time for some real serious action, and I appreciate you for creating this space, but I think that, and I always say this is my broken record, that at the end of the day, we can talk until we turn blue, but we need to start turning our talk into some action, and we need to do it by registering to vote, letting people know that these are the 5 things that we want them to do, and we need to hold them accountable to those 5 things, and be relentless about it. And I think that is where, for me, this conversation needs to really start going, is where do we go from here? Because this situation that's coming down the pipeline with the ballot is either one or the other. There is no conversation and no space to talk about what happens then. And I think that that's going to be our charge, is to really think about what's it going to look like, win or lose, for the children of Boston.
So I thank you. I love you. I appreciate you. Where do we go from here? As far as parents who do want to organize, who feel as if their school doesn't have, a PTA or a proper parent-led, conversation, what organizations are out here? I know C-Plan is your baby and it's my baby, and I love where we're going, but, maybe C-Plan, how many organizations are there out here for parents to have a voice?
Yeah, so there's Roxbury, Dorchester, RDM, Parent Coalition, and that's another space where parents are organizing. There's 3 charter schools, Brooke, Bridge, and KIPP, working alongside the Higginson Lewis, the Ellis, and Mission Grammar. So that space has been growing over the last year, and we've just recently created a parent council, a neighborhood parent council, so that we're outside of just our own schools, but we're like now trying to form and start having very specific targeted conversations around what's happening in our schools. And I think that's going to be a breeding ground for some practice changes and things that we're seeing in our things that we'd like to see in our classrooms, pushing back on some of those facility things that came up in our meeting yesterday with the mayor. That's becoming a space of real power. With C-Plan is a statewide initiative, so Boston is a big city, so there's a lot of work to do, and so you can't do it alone. There's another group, Phenomenal Moms. They're also out there working and trying to work specifically, doing a lot of work with district parents and trying to get them to be up in Adam. There's the Determined Divas. They do most of the work for those who went to the event on Saturday. A lot of the work that we do in that space is around civic engagement and voter engagement work, so that we're showing our elected officials that we're not just having conversations, but we're taking those conversations and coming up with some action steps, and those action steps are then going to be held accountable by our vote, right? And so that's another space that is also forming into being a strong space, not just for education, but for all issues that are impacting families. And then there's the citywide parent council through BPS, and that space is specifically supposed to be for parents to have a voice. But the problem in that space is being occupied by a minority of few voices. The majority of them happen to be parents who are very active from areas like the South End, Jamaica Plain, West Roxbury, Rosendale.
Snitch, baby, snitch!
And have a lot of input. The bottom line is that we need more parents from Dorchester, Roxbury, and Mattapan really actively engaged in that space and really holding BPS accountable. But with all of these groups really forming and working in collaboration with, we can start coming up with a mantra, right? Like you said, singing in a rapport. Because at the end of the day, we can no longer turn our heads and allow things to unfold as they are. So I think it's bringing these groups, as we have been going to meetings with our elected officials in our group, to really show, but we need to grow, and we need more numbers. In that parent union, parents need to start investing. And if you can't come to an event, send a cousin. And if you can't if you don't have the time to make a phone call, write an email, right? And I actually think it takes more time to write an email than it does to make a phone call, but you have to find other ways and other outlets to be heard. And I also think that we need to start looking at this conversation. It's not just around the politics, but we need to start looking at some of the things that are happening on the national scale. And when it comes to parent voice and parent engagement, there is a need, because too often people make decisions for us after the fact, because those decisions have already been made, and then they bring us an agenda. So I think that when we met,
I love my mentor. I love her.
Agenda, and that was the agenda that we had been pushing. And then RDM, very similar to what we put together, created an agenda that was specifically with the same themes in terms of what we're looking for. So I think that there's something manifesting organically around parent voice. I think that it's going to take time. You have to also understand it's been 40 years and people are tired of having the same conversation. So you have to re-engage people and help them recognize that we can't give up. And oftentimes that's what we want to do because we keep hearing the same thing, you know.
Yes,
but we can't now more than ever, since we have this momentum. I mean, we've only been, doing this now hard for, I would say, in my mind, or at least in my humble opinion, and for me, for C-Plan, almost a year, right? We actually just hit our year mark in June. And so we're going into our second year, and I think now is when we're really going to start growing. And now that we have some sense of foundation, now I think it's time for us to increase that membership and maybe turn C-Plan into that parent union. Maybe C-Plan should be the parent union that does it, because, people want to invest money, but they want to invest money on an agenda. But if we have our own parent agenda, then we're investing in our own money. And that's how I think that real change is going to come about.
Julia Mahia, I love you, right?
No, come on. I know you love me. I love you too, right? You're my baby mama.
I hope you have an amazing day today, baby.
You too, honey. Okay, bye.
Bye. Absolutely. All the time, anytime. 617-282-0062. Good rising, caller. Thank you for your patience.
Of course. No, thank you. What the parent just said, one thing I want to add, what she said is something when she said email sometimes it be harder than a phone call. Really, the person is determined to write this long trash on Facebook to cut each other up, they can write your email, okay? That are sitting there, they are academically challenged. It would not take a placement test, but they sure know how to log in and create a password for Facebook and be on there 24/7. So don't give me that. Don't give them excuses. Step up to the plate. Stop talking. I was going to say also, I think it's a great idea with the parent unit. Please inbox me the number or anything that I would love to join this parenting union thing. I think it's not a bad idea. It's a great idea.
Julia Mahia, post on Facebook.
We need voices, but the voices is us. And you said it earlier, in the farm. The voices were the farmers. You need to step in order to change things. We need more people that care about one another to join these forces so that we can become one and speak the same language. Not literally language, meaning Haitian Creole. We're talking about the same message. That what you said earlier. And I will point out, like I was going to say earlier, for those who went to the school, there was a professor. Her name is Miss Warnigan. I love you, Miss Warnigan, till the day I die. And I refer to her every class I go to, every time I speak to my kids. And that's one example I would never erase in my life. If you're listening out there, if her daughter or anyone listening to Miss Warnigan from Hyde Park High School, every single dropout in Hyde Park High School at the year when I went there, can no one tell you that there was not even the student that you can think of the worst person in the class or in the neighborhood that would not come to the class that would show up in the police. You cannot miss her class because she will walk outside the street and grab you by the ear or call you out the window. Hey, Al, hurry up, get your ass in here. You can't miss her class. You won't let you stay out. You have to come in. She wasn't just a teacher. She was also a mother to us. So in the report card, it was ironic. Everyone would fail all these other classes, but I guarantee you the same people that are failing all the other classes
pass her class.
At this morning in class. And she wasn't just giving you a grade. She had to make sure you sit there and learn. And I love you for that this morning. And I'll never forget that teacher. She was determined for every one of us to succeed. These are I don't know how many people I make sure that they get up and just listen to TaylaAndre show. Listen to TaylaAndre show. I put them on board and I have to go listen to the iPod because the stuff we're talking here is what we need to talk about. It's real. People, I don't know how many times people will spend money on alcohol, on cigarettes, even if it goes up $10,000, but you can't donate $1 for your future. $1. $1. That's all I have to say.
Thank you. Love and appreciate you. Hope you have an amazing day today. Did you hear how this grown man talked about his teacher? Lord have mercy. Who was it? I forgot who said it. In regard to police officers, we need to stop hiring police based off skill, based off their ability to shoot and run, and start hiring police officers based on their compassion, based on their ability to diffuse a situation, based on that skill set, not the fact that you can shoot somebody, that skill set. And I feel like maybe we should also talk about that as far as teaching is concerned. You don't need to be the type of teacher that can sit in front of a classroom and get everybody to, break out their number 2 pencil and fill in the bubble. You need to be that teacher that helps that student exceed and excel beyond their wildest dreams and meet who they are. Meet that child where they are, but also bring them and elevate them to the person that they can be. We have another caller on the line. Good rising, caller, you live. It's you, baby. Good rising. Okay, give us a call back. We're having problems with this line 1, baby, so just go ahead and give us a call back, and I'll pull you up. Let me go ahead and release these calls. There we go. Go ahead and give us a call, baby. I went ahead and held that line that's messing up. The rising caller, you're live. I'm well. Shut your radio off for me, baby.
All right. Sorry about that. So I just wanted to say something. I'm both a parent and an educator, so I've been on both sides of the spectrum. You had a caller earlier who was saying something about parents and then something about teachers. And I will say this, a lot of parents can't afford to miss work. They just can't afford to miss it. And, they're thinking about the fact that they have to support their family, especially if they're a single parent. So I don't blame the parents, and I definitely don't blame any teachers, because I know plenty of teachers that have gone out, including myself, and have made breakfast for these kids for when they have to do the MCAT and when they have to take these tests, and have spent our own money and have gone the extra mile. The thing is, teachers and parents need to come together, and I think that union is one of the greatest ideas I've heard in such a long time. We need that, because the teachers and the parents need to come together, be on the same level, and work together. And the scripture you were referring to in Genesis earlier is basically what God said: the people, their minds are on one accord. And because they are all working towards the same purpose and the same goal, there is nothing that can stop them from reaching that goal. So we have to come down and confuse them, because if not, they will build this tower till it reaches the heavens. And that speaks volumes. That lets you know that they were so much on one accord and so much together that they had the power to literally build a tower to reach God. And that's what he was saying. They have the ability to reach me because of their mindset. And that's what we need to do. Our mindsets need to come together. That's why there's confusion, because people don't want to be on one accord. Everybody has their own agenda.
Thank you so much for clarifying that for me. I knew it was something. I'm not fluid in Bible, but I do know a scripture or two.
Right, yeah, and you were absolutely accurate. Everybody is speaking a separate language. When we're speaking, I want, you want, they want, this one, instead of saying, this is what we need. This is what we need as a whole. So you referencing that scripture is very accurate. And the thing is, we need to come together. Our babies are suffering because the children are suffering because of the adults. And this is our future, and we're causing our future to suffer very early on. We need to come together. We need to band together. And this union, Tayla, is absolutely beautiful idea.
Do you hear that, Julia Mahia? We need to kick off this parent union, baby. $1 for every child every month. That's $3. If you have 3 children, that's $3 a month. $3 a month to ensure that your child is getting the best education he or she can get. Listen, when the Catholic Church put up millions of dollars to change a statute so that way those babies that were molested by those priests have until 5 years after turning 18 before they can sit here and no longer press charges. That's called lobbying. Right now, parents have no funds to lobby. Right now, parents have no voice to lobby. This is what a parent union would look like. Are you interested? Would you pay $1 per child that you have in BPS? I don't know how it would work out as far as MECO students are concerned, but $1 per child per month. Would you be interested in having your voice actually heard? 617-282-0062. We're coming to the top of the hour. I want to read some of these comments that were on Facebook. Shout out to Al. Al said, on the back end, all of the schools need better meals. My daughter consistently breaks down to me on how unappealing the food looks and tastes, and how can you expect a child to focus in classes with poor nutrition? If you look at how countries in China and France have their school meals structured, they make our system look embarrassing, and that is absolutely true. I am that parent that is at as many field trips as possible. In every field trip I go to, my baby is over here eating this nasty piece of bologna looking. And it's not even bologna. They're like, no, that's not bologna, that's ham. It looks like bologna, though. And the only time I ever ate bologna in my life is that fried bologna. That's the only time with the little red thing around it. Other than that, I can't get down. And I haven't gotten down with that type of meat in a long time. But this is what our children are eating, with cheese that doesn't melt, tomatoes that are already rotten. And I think my children have one of the best meals in the city, and it's still disgusting. And then, Mommy, I'm so hungry. Breakfast was nasty. Lunch was nasty. And I was in school for 12 hours. I get it. I'm with you. The call-in number, 617-282-0062. Carlos and I talked about it again as far as the parent union is concerned. Thank you, Fa, for going ahead and posting that number. Dr. Umar Johnson started a National Independent Black Parent Association this year. Not sure if there's a local Boston chapter yet, but it's an example of what is already in place. Shout out to James Hill. Our young men of color need more teachers in school leadership that not only look like them. It came up in the men of color meeting. Hold on 1 minute. Came up in the men of color meeting. Highly qualified men of color with great expectations and qualifications are not hired. Shout out to Frank. Frank said that this is an excellent conversation. We need to have more of these conversations more often, especially when it comes to our youth. And the fact that youth are not a part of the, shout out to That's the Chica. They have a t-shirt that says, I'm at the table. And a lot of people didn't understand what that means. Is because we're never at the table, that we don't understand what it means to be at the table. We're never invited to the table. Shirley Chisholm said it. If you're not invited to the table, make sure you bring a folding chair, because it doesn't matter whether or not you invite me, I'm coming. You better push over and make space, because I'm showing up. And you're not going to like what I have to say, because I'm not going to sit here and sugarcoat anything. And that's the conversations that we need. We need to stop caring about people's feelings, because you didn't care about my feelings when you came to my doorstep at 7 o'clock in the morning asking me to vote for you. You didn't care about my feelings then. I don't care about your feelings ever. You are an elected official. My tax-paying dollars pay you. This is what I want to see. This is what I need to see. And Julia Mejia is absolutely right. Do not come to me with an agenda, and it's my fault if you come to me with an agenda, and I have to take responsibility at the fact that I wasn't there at the table when these plans were being drafted. Now you have an agenda in front of me, and I wasn't part of the solution. I wasn't part of that conversation. But at the same time, we have to hold the systems accountable for not properly communicating to us. Communication is key. How much Black media do we have in this city? We don't even have to talk about the rest of the country. Let's talk about in this city. Where does Black media reside? Where is Black media? Last night at a Black Women Lead 100, Ayanna Presley's event, where was the media then? Where was the media ever in our community when something goes right? Goes right, not wrong. When something goes right, where's the media? When we're building, when we're creating? Where's the media? When things are going on in our city, when things are going on in our school, where is the media? How are we contacted? How are we connected? How are we informed? Oh, what meeting? A meeting happened such and such and such and such. Who was there? Damn, I wasn't there. I didn't know anything about it. How are you informed? These are the things that we have to push back on. These are the things that our voices need to be heard on. We can't sit here and wait for July 23rd and have DavidBanner speak on our behalf. That's cool. But you have a voice. Why are you not using it? And it's not, let's take a side step from education. Let's talk about civic engagement, period. Let's talk about the fact that when's the last time you called a city council? And I'm so glad my baby called in talking about something. You'll sit here and post a 7-page letter on Facebook about how your neighbor did X, Y, Z, and your baby daddy did you wrong, and your baby mama is crazy. You'll post all day, but that could have been an email about education. That could have been an email about communication or lack thereof. That could have been an email about traffic lights. That could have anything. Anything. As many complaints I see on Facebook, if those were turned into emails and sent to senators and sent to city councilors and sent to the mayor, do you know how much change would be affected immediately? If you're going to use your voice in a manner in which is going to be the most effective. Send that email, even if you have to keep it in the drafts for a week or two, and add to it and build on to it. Education is key. When you know better, you do better. But if you don't know any better, how do you expect to do better? Shout out to Julian here. We need a civic academy. I believe every student should take civics. We used to have to take civics, just like we used to have to take, it wasn't health class, home ec. In middle school, he was absolute in middle school. We had to learn how to sew in middle school. We had to learn how to crochet in middle school. I forgot how to crochet. I do know how to sew though. We learned how to cook in middle school. We had cooking class once a week in middle. Like I remember, I remember this. But and I understand for adults, but we still, if we don't have it in our school systems, Julia, and we don't have civics in our school, how can we expect adults to even care? If it's not instilled in our children at a young age. You know what, recently, so I'm learning, I'm growing every single day. I learn with you, we learn together. The other day I watched a documentary. And a part of this documentary, it was going over, like, how did we get to the Cold War? And it was a very interesting documentary. It's on Netflix, and it went through the years of, throughout our presidencies, throughout our policies, and, you know, what brought us up to the Cold War. And one of the things that I was completely ignorant to was the New Deal, and what the New Deal really was. And I remember in school thinking the New Deal was the greatest thing that happened since sliced bread. I remember that's how we were taught, that the New Deal was this awesome program that damn near helped everybody, that created, you know, all of these opportunities. The New Deal was put in place to ensure that we couldn't touch a damn thing. We couldn't get mortgages. We couldn't buy houses. Redlining was realer than it is today, and redlining is still a real thing. The New Deal was not made for us, just like the Constitution wasn't made for us. But this is what was taught in school, that the New Deal was the best thing to happen since sliced bread. But if we had real civics, we would have had that broken down to us properly. How policy put in place makes people, divides people, not just divide, but divides and conquer. Well, I'm going to give you all this stuff over here. We're going to go ahead and make you prominent. You're going to be part of the middle class. Your generations, for generations, unless you mess this up, your generation's going to be straight. Oh, y'all don't need nothing. You good, right? On this side of the tracks, y'all good, because you're not getting anything. That's not how it was taught. And that's, Julia said, Taylor, you always talk about curriculum. Absolutely correct. Because if the curriculum was taught correctly, the people would uprise. The truth of the matter, that's the truth. If people were really taught the truth, people would not stand for this nonsense. This, I want to say the word, I can't because we're on air. And all types of foolery. You know what movie that's from, right? Shutters. And all types of foolery. We would not stand for this. If we were properly educated in history, if we were properly educated in civics, if we were properly educated and properly engaged in the system, we would not stand for what we currently have. It would not happen. And that's why we have to create systems for ourselves. Facebook just died, y'all, so my apologies. And we're at the top of the hour. I want to give a huge shout out to our sponsors. Do not forget that Tariq Nasheed is live on Friday in the building, on air. Whatever questions you have, get them ready because he is taking calls. We are taking calls. He will be in the building. And then later on that evening, on Friday, Tariq Nasheed will be at the Strand Theater. Doors open at 6 p.m. Show starts at 7 p.m. And tickets are currently online. Go to Eventbrite, type in Tariq Nasheed, and you'll see the tickets pop up. Make sure you come out. It's going to be an awesome conversation. I'm really, really excited. 801 Mass Ave, ZC Boston, half-price sushi on Saturday and Sunday from 11 a.m. until 9 p.m. The 3-mile radius from BMC, and that includes all of Roxbury. Once you go up the Blue Hills into it, meets with Columbia Road. ZC does free delivery all the way up, and I think they're one of the only restaurants that actually delivers in Roxbury. I love them for that. Free parking, 2 hours for lunch, 3 hours for dinner. They're open until 2 a.m. every single day. They deliver until 1 a.m. every single day. FaithsNaturalBeauty.com. That's Faiths with an S, Naturals with an S, Beauty.com. Don't forget to get your detox wash, the activated charcoal teeth whitener, the hair milk. My curls are still on fleek from about 3 days ago. And the summer scrub, Good Rising. I absolutely love it. My skin feels amazing. And whether you know this or not, Vaseline is not a moisturizer. We wake our babies up telling them to put Vaseline all over their face. Vaseline is not a moisturizer. It never was. It never is. It clogs your pores. It doesn't work. Your skin is the largest organ on your body, and if you're feeding it chemicals, that's what you are basically ingesting. You might as well just eat the Vaseline because that's exactly what your skin is doing, is eating it. So anything you put onto your body, anything you put in your hair, whether it's your conditioner, whether it's your shampoo, whatever it is in your body. It is being absorbed by your body. Make sure you read the labels. Faith's Naturals, everything is natural. You can eat it. I wouldn't suggest it, but you could eat it. And the charcoal, everything. It detox your body. It whitens your teeth. Don't forget the Pum Pum Wash. Don't forget the deodorant. And DavidBanner is coming to Boston July 23rd at the Strand Theater. Tickets are still on sale. You can go on Eventbrite, or you could walk up to the counter, whatever you want to do. But I hope to see you there. And make sure you give me hugs because I love to give my energy unto you and take your energy as well. In a positive manner, that is. I thank you. I love you. I appreciate you. I hope you guys have an amazing day. And just be mindful. As far as your children's education is concerned, be mindful. Find out what it is your child likes. Find out what it is your child is into. And find programs that will help your child get onto the path that is right for him or her. I would hate for our children not to know who they are. Make sure you self-educate at home. Make sure you get that Black Laws Dictionary. Make sure you get a thesaurus. Make sure you get an unabridged dictionary. And let's start teaching our children. You know, Asaria picked up, I went and had her get her nails done, and she picked up a dictionary, and she brought it to read. And she's going through different words, and she's like, oh, I never knew that word had another meaning. I'm like, really? What word is it? And it was something so simple. And I was just like, I didn't know it had another meaning too. She was like, well, I guess we're learning together. You're right, baby. We are learning together, and we all have to work together, learn together, and figure this thing out ourselves. Because there's no handbook to teach us. It's not going to be handed to us. We have to have that one language. Let's build this temple using our one language. Let's get to the heavens. And let's, whatever it is that we want, baby, we can have it. We just have to fix our mind on it and have a plan. And right now, we don't have either. I thank you. I love you. I appreciate you. And I hope you have an amazing day. Big City 101.3 FM, Waking Up with TaylaAndre, Monday through Friday, 5 a.m. to 7. Mwah! Really? So it's just going to stop? News, politics, conspiracies. Wake up your third eye with unorthodox conversation leading to universal consciousness. That's the type of stuff I'm into. Make sure you tune in. Let's go.
Why you over there looking at me? While I'm with my
girlfriend, take you to the hotel. You can leave with me.
Said, why you over there looking? Got a staring problem in you for.
Oh, I hope YouTube doesn't penalize it. Was that more than 30 seconds? There were tweets coming in, Jules. Was that you? Were you tweeting? I love you. I appreciate you. I hope you have an amazing day. Mwah.